The NBA 2020-2021 season was full of dramatic moments that nobody really expected going into it. With the shortest offseason of all time, nobody really expected the players to be as energized as they were this past season. But oh, did they prove us wrong. Here are the best and worst players of the 2021 season. Number 1, best, Nikola Jokic. It's only right that we start this list off with the MVP of the season, Jokic, who had been an all-star for a few years now and has only improved his game with every passing season. The center is known for his incredible passing ability, a skill that most players of his stature don't have. This past season alone, he averaged 8 assists a game. To go along with his passing ability, he also averaged 26.4 points and 10.8 rebounds a game. Jokic is the perfect offensive center. High IQ and remarkable skills have made him the franchise player for the Denver Nuggets and a face of the NBA. To cap it all off, Jokic did not miss a single game this season. An accomplishment that doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's huge among NBA players. Their grueling season can really take a toll on a player's body. It's not uncommon for star players that play a lot of minutes to take a game or two off to recover, whether it's minor or major injuries, or even just a game to recover physically. Jokic could have taken a small break at some point, especially towards the end of the season, after his team had already secured a spot in the playoffs, but he chose to keep playing. That alone has earned him all-star status. Next, we got the worst NBA players, starting with Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell. I think I should make it clear that when I say worst players, I don't actually mean worst players. This is a plethora of far worse players than Dennis Schroeder, players that haven't seen a minute on the court. But for the purpose of this list, I'll be talking about players that either cost their team or players that severely underperformed. Schroeder, for example, the man was nearly 6th man of the year last year, and everyone expected the Lakers to make another title run with him and the actual 6th man of the year, Montrezl Harrell, added to the squad. Unfortunately, Schroeder did not perform nearly as well this past year as he did in Oklahoma. He went from 18 points a game to 15, not a terrible drop in stats, but considering that he went from shooting 46% to 43%, it becomes a big deal. That drop in shooting percentage cost the Lakers a lot of buckets that they had needed Schroeder to produce. In fact, all his shooting percentages took a dive this past season. A shame, really. If he continued on the track that he was going, he would have made it to an all-star roster in the coming years. While we're on the subject, let's talk about his teammate Harrell. If you think Schroeder underperformed, then get a load of this. Harrell nearly averaged 20 points a game the season prior, but this season he went all the way down to 13 points a game. His field goal percentage was improving, but only because he took far less shots. Harrell just didn't seem to fit into the Lakers' offense. He could have been producing some serious points for the team, but something between him and the team just didn't click. Number 3, we got the greatest shooter of all time, Steph Wardell Curry. This was the season that Curry's supposed to get exposed. Instead, what happened? He won the scoring title. The Golden State Warriors were the bane of every other NBA team's existence for half a decade. The dynasty took 5 back-to-back trips to the finals and won 3 of them in the process. The team was led by Steph, his splash brother Klay Thompson, and perhaps one of the greatest scorers in existence, Kevin Durant. After the team lost the finals to the Toronto Raptors back in 2019, things took a serious turn for the team. Not only did KD tear his Achilles, but Klay also tore his ACL. It was a bloodbath. Steph was the only one left unharmed, but not for long. KD left for Brooklyn that offseason, and later down the line, Steph broke his hand, and Klay tore his Achilles during recovery. The dynasty was at an end. This past season, Steph was the only one in fighting shape. With the sharpshooter Klay out and KD competing against him, Steph had to be a one-man army. It was supposed to be the season of his downfall. Even other players like Damian Lillard were saying that Steph would struggle without the spacing. Nope. Steph came out this season with something to prove. He averaged 32 points a game and dropped a career high of 62 points, winning his 2nd scoring title and finishing 3rd in the MVP race. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when his team is completely healthy? Good luck. 4, back to the worst players, Denzel Valentine. Valentine may be the worst player on this list. If you're a Chicago Bulls fan, then you know how awful he truly is. Valentine is one of those players that could be good, but is really too dumb to be good. He's got the IQ of a rock, and it has cost him game time. If you were to Google Denzel Valentine lowlights, you'd be met with an hour's worth of videos. It's amazing that he saw any minutes at all with the Bulls. He averaged 6 points a game with a 37% shooting percentage. That's bad. Really bad. His career with the Bulls has actually produced some funny lowlights. Well, funny for the rest of the NBA. Infuriating for the Bulls fans. There's the free layup he passed up to try and get fancy with a pass. It resulted in a turnover. There's the time he screened his own teammate Zach LaVine, costing them the game. And of course, everyone remembers that awful heat check when he shot from way deep with less than a minute left, down by 5, and airballed it. Even the commentators were shocked at his stupidity. Deservingly enough, it was also Valentine's last time touching the court for the rest of the season. Yeah, the Bulls will be glad to see him go this offseason. Next up at number 5, we got one of the best players in the world, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Better known as the Greek Freak, Giannis never slowed down after his back-to-back MVP awards. In fact, he was shooting at a better percentage this past year. His rebounding and points differentials were marginal, and for the most part, he was exactly the same player, if not better than he was the year prior. With back-to-back MVPs, the media gave him a little less attention this past season. That did not stop him from carrying his team all the way to a championship and carrying the Finals MVP. His victory in the Finals has sparked conversation about his claim to the throne. With LeBron in decline, it's between Cade and Giannis to take the title as the best player in the world. Cade has an edge because of his versatility, but with Giannis winning the NBA championship this past year and also being much younger than Cade, it's only a matter of time before he's crowned the new king of the court. Worst, Ben Simmons. This is going to be a controversial pick, considering he's an all-star. The problem with Simmons is that he's shown no growth since he entered the league. In fact, it's been said that he has no desire to work on his game at all. Simmons is still the same player he was when he was a rookie and hasn't changed in the slightest. Makes it kind of tricky because Simmons, by all means, is a good player. He's locked down on defense and can facilitate the ball. If he didn't have such a big role in Philadelphia, I'm sure he would have received so much criticism. The truth of the matter is Ben Simmons is a role player. He's not the kind of guy to anchor a team around, and he doesn't want to be. He's passed up a wide open shot and makes him a liability. If he were to join another team, perhaps as a small forward, he could be great. Until then, comparing apples to apples, he's a bad player, and he's costing his team a chance at the finals. Now, this list could go on forever. There are many good and bad players out there. For the sake of time, let's do a speed round. Good. Kevin Durant. You've heard me mention him multiple times. KD's an offensive machine. Nobody expected him to be as good as he was coming back from an injury, but he proved his haters wrong. KD has firmly established himself as the best offensive player in the league and has claimed the throne. Good. CP3. Chris Paul is known as the point god. He's a veteran that can seemingly lead any team to the playoffs. He did it with OKC, and this year he did it with the Suns. It's clear that his veteran presence only elevates the performance of those around him. Bad. Kyle Kuzma. He was a good rookie, but has seriously fallen off since then. He's been ridiculed by the NBA for his colorful personality and underwhelming performance on the court. Maybe stepping out of LeBron's shadow and going to the Wizards will be good for him. Good. LeBron James. I feel like this list would be incomplete without LeBron. He's considered by many as the GOAT in the NBA, and despite his old age, he's still playing at a high caliber. He managed to beat Steph in the play-in tournament, tells the media he's still got a lot of years under his belt. With that, that's the video. To wrap it up, here are some honorable mentions. Zach LaVine, Luka Doncic, Julius Randle, Kawhi Leonard. And here are some dishonorable mentions. Kyle Anderson, Eric Bledsoe, Kevin Knox II, Michael Carter Williams. We can't wait to see what this upcoming season has in store. Thanks everyone for watching. See you again next time.